This is a list of what I think are the best supercars from the last decade and a half. Number 10. Audi R8 GT. Audi's goodbye present to itself is the R8 GT, a rear-wheel drive limited edition with a bit less weight and a bit more power. This is the last V10 to come from Audi because they have committed their future to building electric cars. The rear canards and swan neck mounted rear wing echo of Audi's hugely successful R8 LMS racing car. It generates 612 brake horsepower, which is the same as you get in the R8 Performance Quattro, but it's rear-wheel drive. Audi Sport says its priority wasn't to send the R8 off to retirement by making it fast, but turning up the fun. Number 9. Mercedes-Benz SLS AMG Black Series. The SLS might not be as fast around a track as the newer GTR or the GT Black Series, but its status as one of AMG's most extreme creations, and its final normally aspirated model, cements its status as a modern classic. The 6.2-liter NA V8 revs to 8,000 and is a life-affirming thing all petrolheads should experience. Mercedes only built 50 SLS Black Series, and it was a hefty £60,000 more than the standard SLS AMG. Number 8. Ford GT. It's an all-aluminium, dry-sump 3,497 cubic centimeters V6 that develops 647 brake horsepower and pushes all that to the rear wheels via a 7-speed twin-clutch gearbox. And then there's track mode. Twist a knurled knob on the steering wheel to T, confirm with another button press, and the GT drops 50 millimeters instantly. If the GT had used a V8, it would have taken up more space, and the GT wouldn't have been able to make so much use of aero. It's purposely impractical, which serves to remind you that it's all about the driving. Number 7. Lamborghini Huracan STO. The new STO claims to take the road-going Lambo experience a step closer to the Super Trofeo and GT3 race cars. The 5.2-liter V10 is unmodified from the Performante, developing 631 brake horsepower, but like the R8 GT and unlike the Performante, it is rear-wheel drive. The aero has moved on more, and not subtly. Lambo says downforce is up 53% compared to the Performante, which developed 350 kilograms at 186 miles per hour. Number 6. Ferrari F12 TDF. Front engine, rear-wheel drive, a layout that is usually good for balance and predictability because it puts the majority of the weight further forward. But not in an F12 TDF where the engine is so far back it's basically nudging your knees and the gearbox is at the back, so the weight distribution is in favor of the rear axle. The F12 TDF is designed to give expert drivers a challenge. The stability systems tend to butt out for just enough time for things to get decidedly interesting, especially when it's wet or bumpy. Number 5. McLaren 765 LT. LT is to McLaren what RS is to Porsche. Lighten, sharpen, intensify. There have been 2 LT models before, both were utterly tremendous, not only great on track, but arguably just as rewarding on the road. The 765 LT has another 45 brake horsepower over the 720S it's based on and is 80 kilograms lighter. The combination of outrageous speed and constant information through the steering, chassis, and the seat not only means the 765 LT feels alive, but that the sensory bombardment can get close to overload. Number 4. Nissan GT-R Nismo. Over the past 10 years, the Nissan GT-R has been the subject of perpetual tweaking, refining, and perfecting. The current Nissan GT-R Nismo is the culmination of a decade's worth of experience. The depth of engineering and sheer attention to detail in keeping an aging heavyweight on its toes and swinging hard is just spectacular. The performance car world is a richer place with this gruff supercar killer existing. Number 3. Porsche 911 GT3 RS. The most extreme Porsche 911 ever produced. This new GT3 RS isn't just inspired by motorsport, it's a full-blown race car, albeit one with number plates. It only has 15 brake horsepower more than a current-gen GT3, and only 5 brake horsepower more than the previous gen GT3 RS, but it is an absolute masterclass in aero and chassis dynamics. While the previous generations of the GT3 RS look like 911s with wide bodies and wings, this thing is a complete freak. Number 2. Ferrari 458 Speciale. Pretty self-explanatory, it's the Ferrari 458 Speciale, the quicker, harder, more aggressive 458 variant. Whether on the road or on the track, drivers will feel immediately at one with the 458 Speciale thanks to the speed with which it responds to every input. It contains one of the loveliest engines ever, a 4.5-liter flat-crank V8 with natural aspiration. Incredible noise, incredible handling. The Speciale is without a doubt a modern classic. Number 1. Lamborghini Aventador LP700-4. When the Aventador debuted in 2011, it had some big shoes to fill as a successor to the Murcielago. With looks ahead of its time and a cockpit filled with drama such as lifting up a flap to start the car, the Aventador not only filled those shoes but tore them apart. Sure, the latter versions like the SVJ are much quicker, but the LP700 has this nostalgia of being the original Aventador. I mean, it literally looked like a spaceship back then when it was launched. And being the last Lambo to use the famed V12 without any assists, the Aventador will be remembered as one of the greatest supercars ever. If I missed something that you think should be on this list, let me know in the comments.